Hi, welcome back to the channel, TrainStation 2. Alright, I'm prepared for the third competition with all the items. You can see a huge quantity of them in my warehouse. And of course, a good number of EP hit start. Alright, now let's enter into the gameplay. First, let's see what we got from the rewards. It should be a 2-star container, but what's our luck? Alright, it's just a common train, unfortunately. I was thinking it could give me something better, but unfortunately it's just another duplicate common trains as usual. I'll try to dismantle them. And because of that really tough competition fight in the second one, it has pushed me to 89% completion in the map. So that being said, that raised some concerns. I'm afraid we will be hitting 100% very soon, sooner than what we wanted. The issue here is how can then we stop that from happening. My plan is something unconventional. I'm not going to participate in this coming competition in the early part. What I've been always advocating is basically start late. But this time round, I'll be starting really late. How late would that be? Noting the fact that competition always goes with a short one, followed by a long one, which we just ended the 3 days. The next one will be a short one for sure. And with this video, after this video, I will not log into the game for one full day. And let's see how that works. Probably it's between 24 hours to probably even 36 hours late. So this is the first time I'm doing that. I've experienced before many times 12 hours late. The competition wouldn't be that stiff. Sometimes 24 hours may unfortunately be grouped with even people more competitive. So it's a bit strange though, but I've never tried more than 24 hours. So I'll try this time around probably 30 over hours and let's see what happened. The fact that I'm quite lucky, I managed to secure 2 firsts already in the previous 2 competitions. I already have secured 700 event coins. I'll need another 300 event coins in order for me to claim that legendary train, the Samurai, with 1000 event coins. So I'm trying this time really not to lock in for one full day, and then probably 1.5 day, I would say 36 hours. Why am I doing so? As I mentioned earlier, I want to defer the completion of 100% by later. So I'm trying to do that, and I'm trying not to do so many jobs. Another way, I mean, if you are already at 90%, do not do the last job. What do you mean by last job? You can see here, those customers would have 30/30. That is the last job. Do not do that. You can do 2 out of the 3 customers, but not the 3rd customer, because once you did that, you will feel very overwhelmed with the high quantity that's required once it hit over 100%. So you gotta bear in mind that that is really a bad experience. If you want to avoid, to heal my advice, do not complete the last job, and hopefully you can continue to win. Although sometimes you'll be pushed in the dilemma whether should you fight with just 2 customers, because if not fulfilling that last job, you'll basically be just leaving the 3rd job and not touching it, and you'll be just concentrating on just 2 jobs. Would that be sufficient for you to win the competition? Probably, maybe not at a very high ranking of 1st or 2nd, but at least it makes your life easier. But trust me, once you complete 100%, the quantity will get really different. But of course, things may change. I'm not too sure. With this event, the Japanese event, actually there are already changes, but it was really not mentioned. But I think we all notice all the groupings with the competitors are at the same level. While this seems fair, this gave us, in a way, no additional advantage, because if you have a mixture of people of higher levels, you may actually have a good chance of winning the first place. But if you have people of almost the same levels, chances are they may be just as easy in terms of the jobs they're going to do, vis-a-vis those people on a very high level. The quantity will be very huge, whereas probably us at a lower level will be basically lower quantities required. So again, this is something new in this Japanese event. Really, I do notice another difference is competitors get really tough in this Japanese event. Like I showed in the previous video, how do you check how well your competitors has done? You should go to the trophy, and then from there you'll see a list of the competitors. Click on their name and you can say view profile. From there you basically can see the person's headquarter points, and of course the higher the headquarter points, that's really the person with the highest will be getting really high in terms of the rank, because that just means that he has always been winning, or she has always been winning. So you got to take note of that particular player. So it has been proven in my last competition, the person in second place, which has always been leading, that's why I put myself as the tortoise and he's a rabbit. He is extremely high in terms of headquarter points. I think about 160 over 1,000, whereas for us it's all much lower. So it's really a miracle, as I mentioned in my previous thumbnail, that I won him. And I think the issue here is try not to give up. You got to keep on doing in order to so-called push yourself up the ranks. Alright, so this video, good enough background already. This video is basically in preparation, as I mentioned. We would have, as usual, prepared the 3 sets of EP and not collect them. And of course, we got to fulfill all the factories, put in all the items that are required. So that's what I'm trying to do in this whole video. You can see a lot of factories are all quite empty. What we need to do is to make sure they are filled all the way to the brim. Especially this Japanese factory, we got to take a lot of this paper ready, store them in the warehouse, and of course you got to understand what the products is made up of, and then you got to store it to the maximum benefits. For example, if you have been hoarding nails in the iron mill, why not hoard chairs in a furniture shop, in a furniture factory actually. If you have hot chairs, you would be hoarding timber and nails. Wouldn't it sound better? I mean, you could hoard timber and nails at 2 separate factories. Why not hoard them in just one factory? And then you can leave the space in those factories for other things. So every single factory, there'll be a unique item that the other factory doesn't produce. So let's go on very quickly. Like I mentioned earlier, we have nails. Yes, you can still put in the iron mill if you really wish to, but once I tell you what to do, you shouldn't be doing that, because you'll be doing other things. Likewise for saw blades, you shouldn't be storing saw blades. Saw blades can be stored as tables, because saw blades and timber makes tables, so you should be doing that. Alright, so as for plastics, what you can do is instead of storing plastics, you store plastic chairs. So because every single plastic chairs is 200 plastics, so you store 1 slot is equates to 2 slots of plastics in chemical refinery. And of course glue, likewise, you can do that. You do know that glue is also a subcomponent in the plywood. Then you can actually store plywood, because when you store plywood, you're storing not only glue, but you're storing logs, right? So that's how I normally do stuff. And of course sofa, those sofa, you're having 3 components there, so you're storing 3 items in 1 slot rather than 3 different slots in 3 different factories. So this is how you can maximize space, given the fact that we all have limited warehouse spacing. So this is how I normally do it. And then if you require those materials, then you go and dismantle them. But when I said storing them and hoarding them, where do you hoard them? You do not hoard them as a manufactured product, because there's no way you can convert a manufactured sofa back into the 3 different components or parts. So you should store them in the input tray, like I just did. So here we are storing all these items in the input tray, but you gotta do this thing, which is to store the production line first, like what I've just did here. And then once you store that production line, whatever goes here, like you see, I put into the input tray, it will not be converted, and this is where you can use as your additional warehouse spacing. So that plywood there will stay as plywood, but actually I'm storing glue and locks at the same time. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I will normally do stuff, and then that costs a lot of time, and put them into the manufacturing line and run it through, and then complete it and produce the complete furniture or the complete items, because you know some takes like hours to do. So those are really the ones that you want to avoid doing while in the competitions. And of course, the Japanese factory, likewise, you do know that making paper takes a couple of minutes, but you know that if you make cranes, it will take you a while more, like half an hour or so. So you got to bear in mind calligraphy set, for example. So calligraphy sets, likewise, you got to do a lot of them and store in a warehouse. And if you still have a lot of those materials to store, and you want to store so-called the production, stop the production in the Japanese factory, then you should store not those paper and whatnot, but rather the finished products like calligraphy sets, because calligraphy sets were made up of certain components, which then represents two components, for example. Then you're actually storing using just one slots. So isn't that great? Because you got to know that certain items will require 2 items to make, certain items will require even 3 items to make. Then by just storing 1 item, you're storing 2 or 3. So that's how you save space, okay? And at the same time, as I mentioned, you do those takes a long while to do, because during competition you just want to grab and go. You just grab and deliver, okay? But based on the 2 competitions so far, we all know that the majority of the items asked for are all the Japanese event items. So while you can prepare all you want in the 6 core factories, the most important thing to do is really to prepare all the Japanese items. So what I'm trying to do is to store all these items in the factories and clear out these items from my warehouse. My warehouse will be used to place lots of paper and tons of paper, and of course raw materials like wood, and of course those rice from the paddy. So this is really the plan to go. If you have time, you should really do that, and then eventually when the competition starts, you should basically have all the items that is required throughout the competition, and you just grab and go. And of course you do say that yes, if it's a very short period of time, you should have all the items. That is what I'm trying to do this time around. I'm going to start like 36 hours late, so I'm basically just fighting a 2 days competition within half a day. So with that, I'm sure, or I'm very affirmed that I have the sufficient items for grab and go. So this is my approach for this time around. I don't know whether it succeeds, but I'm sharing you probably in the next video. Right? So do stick with me, and then I'll thank you for watching, and any questions, just drop in the comments. Again, thank you for watching. Do like and subscribe, and good luck for the 3rd competition. Goodbye.